No, this was one thing I was eventually going to talk about or discuss in a video on its own. If it's not clear by now, I used to be a massive fan of the Epic SMP server and I used to make a lot of content covering it, but over the past month I've suddenly dropped out completely, in order to mostly find my own path on YouTube and creating Minecraft content as a whole. Secondly, because Epic SMP has been kind of on the ropes since early February. For those of you who don't quite understand what's been happening with Epic SMP, I've got a collection of other videos that I recommend you should go check out. My two videos saying that Epic SMP is over, as well as a few other ones that I've made in the past month. I go over a lot of different things about the server and what's been happening. But essentially, to cover it in brief detail, people stopped playing on the server because they're variety streamers and wanted to stream something more than just Minecraft, and then at that point, most people won't even log onto the server in the first place because no one else is in there. Now, before we get into this video, I'd like to ask you guys, if you're new around here and you enjoy hearing me talk about Minecraft or just hearing Minecraft in general, please make sure to go down there and hit the subscribe button, as it's completely free and we're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of 2021. Either way, let's get into the actual video. So in today's video, I wanted to just discuss everything Epic SMP. I wanted to go through and discuss my thoughts and whether Epic SMP will actually come back and will we see some new light with it, or whether it's done for. From listening over the most recent Super Mega Cast, which was released on Spotify on the 24th of March, in the final 10 minutes of the podcast, Trevor ends up discussing his plans for the Epic SMP moving forward, and about the fact that there's a planned relaunch for the 2nd of April. The idea at this point in time is to make it like a temporary thing that comes in bursts. Essentially, it comes in for like a 2-week event period and then disappears for a little while, then comes back and then goes again. Mainly because of the fact that a majority of the people in the server itself are variety streamers, and even though they could enjoy it for the time frame that they do play for it, a lot of people just don't want to endlessly play it. Essentially, Trevor's aim is to have it so there's a plan and ideas of what they're going to be doing in that time frame the server's going to be back for, just so they're not aimlessly messing about in the server doing pretty much nothing useful. And the current plan for the next event set would be pretty much something to do with a business war. As we all know, with the people who were paying attention to the Epic SMP server when it was still going, was the fact that Schlatt and Swaggersource had built their massive business empire in their area of the server. And essentially, there was a few other people making smaller business type things in the server. And the small amount of information that we managed to get from Trevor in the podcast itself is that there's going to be some form of a business war between them. Something that they're hoping to have last for at least 2 weeks, if not a little bit longer. And the idea is to have it so it's not exactly an SMP as such, but more of like a show that you get to see like once or twice a month, with a collection of series that disappear for a month and then suddenly come back again after they return. Pretty much allowing that when the people do get involved in the server itself and start playing again, they can enjoy it a lot more because they don't do it as often as what other people might think. Because for a lot of people, Minecraft isn't exactly the endless type of game for a lot of people. For a lot of people, it's just one of those games that you play, but you can't exactly play indefinitely. You want to take breaks after a while, you want to cool off for like a month and come back and play it endlessly again. And so, Trevor plans to put some form of structure into the Epic SMP server so it can avoid that type of Minecraft burnout that we can see here. And potentially have it something that will last quite a while, whilst not being extraordinarily active and having it going all the time. It would be one of those servers that would pop up for like 2 weeks every now and then disappear again, giving us probably what would be considered the best 2 weeks of content, then disappearing for it to have everyone anticipate and hype up the next 2 weeks worth of content that would be getting planned in the background. One thing that I can already tell that a lot of people might be concerned about, does this mean any form of scripting? I feel like personally it's going to be similar to the roots of Hermitcraft, where the events and ideas is kind of planned, but the way they get there and the direction they take in order to get to these ideas is completely made up on the spot or crafted by the players then and there. Essentially means that there's an idea for how the event's going to go, but the way they get there or how they even complete the event in the first place will be completely done up as an improvisation, instead of the entire thing being almost completely scripted, like the Dream SMP does. I also personally see that if this first 2-week period is executed well when it comes down to April, I do believe that this might potentially do well in the long run, might end up just functioning better for the Epic SMP guys in the future. As has been stated several times in this video already, as most people who play in the server are variety streamers, focusing like 2 weeks to stream the Epic SMP server and then taking a break for a little while before coming back to it, I feel like might just end up being the best way to move forward in. But I'm still skeptical to say the least, because I'm honestly unsure on what the future actually holds for the Epic SMP server, as Trevor's been attempting to have a quote-unquote relaunch of the server for quite a few weeks at this point, and so far the attempts times that have actually happened haven't really gone too well. In fact, has left a few other members from actually leaving the server for the time being, and not playing in the time scheduled slots that everyone was planning to do so. Another question that gets thrown up in the air with this, does this mean this 2-week period they're going to be following the schedule set out by Trevor a couple of weeks ago? Or are they going to be just streaming as often as they want throughout the week? So maybe Swagger Souls will start streaming every day again for a little while, or we start seeing a lot of other people just streaming more consistently and a little bit more often than what the schedule decides, or will they just be streaming along that schedule still to this day? Another question that is currently left up in the air is what about the new members that Swagger is apparently helping to recruit to come into the server in the first place, as those ideas have definitely been stated by quite a few people, but Swagger Souls has kind of gone dark on the whole Epic SMP thing. And after his big stream the other week, he hasn't actually gone on the Epic SMP server, at least not in stream, for quite a few weeks. Honestly, I do have my hopes up, as I do love the Epic SMP server and I do enjoy the content that comes out of it. At the same time, I am a bit skeptical because going off of what's happened over the past few times they've tried to revive it, it's definitely an interesting question on will Trevor be able to successfully pivot it into a new era, into this new style that might potentially make the Epic SMP have the ability to last quite a while. I guess another question that is left on the mind is what about the original lore that was meant to be a part of the server with the massive void hole? Will that continue to be a thing, or will it be abandoned with the person who was originally meant to be taking part in the lore not actually playing in the server as much anymore? Or will Ted and Slimesicle actually play in the server a bit more actively in these time periods where there's apparently going to be some nifty ideas on what could be happening in the server? Honestly, I believe there's just a lot of things up in the air right now until more information gets confirmed by Trevor in either tweets or other podcasts or videos. We're currently just going to be left wondering on what's going to be happening next in the Minecraft Epic SMP server. But as always, I'm going to be keeping an eye on it and try and cover it to the best of my abilities and best of what I can do in order to keep informing you guys who still watch the content that I put out on this channel Epic SMP wise. But I also want to encourage you guys to go check out my other content, especially like a few of the other more Hermitcraft or other Minecraft videos that I plan to make in the future. As not gonna lie, kinda sucks when people only here for the Epic SMP stuff, because my channel kinda gets murdered when there's not a thing to actually exist in the first place. And hey, as I said, I'm gonna be making more content covering the new stuff in the Epic SMP server when it relaunches on the 2nd of April. And of course, I might bring back the recap series if there ends up being enough information that makes it worth having the recap series on a week-to-week basis again when it comes back. But other than that, I'm taking a different approach when it comes to Minecraft content for the time being, a bit more variative, trying to produce more content just for everyone to love in the first place. Either way, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, and I've been your host, the Crisair, the SMP guy, and until next time guys, goodbye.